Welcome, this is Brea Simons.
And I'm Erenee Champagne.
And you are listening to Tea Talk on Glasshouse Radio, part of the Howard University Radio Network. So, how was your weekend? So, how was today, most off? Like, today's a really nice day.
Today is a nice day.
You know, DC weather has been, off and on.
I know, it's
sometimes
chilly.
It's cold, sometimes it's hot.
It's chilly, but it was kind of hot. Well, hotter. Warmer.
Warmer is better.
Now it's cooler, and you need a jacket.
Yeah, so, because everybody's getting sick around here, so, make sure you have your jacket,
Yeah.
But, so last week was the taping of the Soul Train Awards. So apparently, Jodeci is going to be reunited on stage. So that's really good. That's good for like old music, 90s music, real music. Yeah,
even though it's taped in my ear yet, I'm still excited to see it. Wendy Williams is hosting it. And I just love her. And I know she's going to be funny. She's going to have a lot of wigs going on.
Maybe messy, maybe a little messy.
She is going to be messy, which is going to make it even funnier. And I know Missy Elliott, Little Kim, and Da Brat is also going to be on stage.
Right.
It's going to be cool to see Missy Elliott again. Even, I guess Little Kim. I guess.
I think it's an ode to old music. Not even old music, but good music. Because it seems like we don't really have that type of like R&B, that type of hip-hop, that type of rap anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
According to a lot of people. So it's like, seeing them all reunited on one stage kind of like brings back what used to be. Because, now we don't have those like timeless songs so much. So
yeah,
it's like,
that's interesting. And they actually opened the show with Chris Brown, and then to kind of go back in time, sort of, with like the 90s groups is an interesting dynamic to have on the show, and I think it's gonna be a good show.
I mean, yeah, I wonder if they're gonna have any more like newer music, because I know even though it's like the Soul Train Awards, like you have to also think about both audiences of the Soul Train Awards as well, so that kind of can be like the barrier between the two.
I feel like the Soul Train Awards is not respected as it used to be. Like, I know we're kind of young, but like I know like older people, like it used to be like the awards for like black people and stuff like that, and it's not looked at to that anymore.
BET Awards
it's just like, oh, it's the Soul Train Awards, but it should be looked at like, like if I win this award, it's like a big deal.
I think it's mainly because of the BET Awards. Now the BET Awards just look like that, but even
you
then,
think so? Because people go to the BET Awards dressed in jeans.
I mean,
I feel like they don't have the same respect that they do to the Grammys and the BET Awards. Oh, it's just the BET Awards.
I feel like the Grammys and the BET Awards will never be on the same playing field. I think that's
but
just
why?
the way. I think it's just the society we live in. Like a BET Award, like when August Alsina won the BET Award, everybody was like, it's just a BET Award. But to commemorate all of the hard work that he's done, that means a lot to him. And for Soul Train Awards, when you get a Soul Train Award, people don't even really tune into those awards. The Black Girls Rock Awards, like people don't really.
It's what the value we add to it. Why don't people look to it? Because we don't look at it like that. Why not? Like, you know what I mean? It should be. Okay, the Grammys is something everybody wants to win, which it should be, but why don't people have the same regard to BET Awards? Why not? Like, I feel like if you're black or if you're not black and you win an award by your people, you should feel just as worthy if you were to win a Grammy. Like,
I guess.
I feel like people should look at it like that as well.
But I mean, like, think
just
about
like
it this
the
way.
Image Award, the NAACP Award.
Yeah, but when, like, for example, when Iggy Azalea won an award on BET, or she even performs on BET, everybody's like, like why did she win the award? So it's kind of like, would she have regarded the same BET Award, even though she's a new female MC that's coming up in regards to Nicki Minaj? Like, I think people just don't think of the BET Awards as substantial enough in regards to the Grammy. When you think of a Grammy, you think of the BET Award.
I feel like it should be. And she didn't win the award. She performed at the awards. But the thing with Iggy Azalea, I don't think she's perceived as well, because I don't feel like people think it's genuine. If it was different, Eminem was performing at the BET Awards, it would be different. I think people would be more accepting. But I feel like with Iggy Azalea, it doesn't seem genuine coming from her. And I think that's the issue that people are having.
I mean, okay, that brings to the question, do you think music is colorblind? Do you think hip-hop and R&B is colorblind? Do you think it's more of a black thing, or do you think it represents all races across the board?
I don't think it represents all races across the board.
But don't you feel like it should? Do you feel like hip-hop is only a black thing?
I don't think it's only a black thing, but I think more black people listen to hip-hop than white people listen to hip-hop.
So then you're basically saying that it's kind of a race thing. Like it's it's not a part of music that's across the board. It only caters to one certain type of people.
For the most part, yes. It shouldn't, but that's the way it is. Like, how many black people you really know out there that listen to country music? Like, I don't know why it's the way it is, but that's the way it is.
But that could be part of the reason why that the Grammys is regarded as more, because it's more of a diverse spectrum of music, and more people that you're not just being elected by your people, you're being elected by the whites and all the other people that, you know, make up what is a Grammy award. Whereas a BET award is kind of like you have your R&B and you have your hip hop. But there's like...
But what about the people that don't even get nominated and they deserve to be nominated at the Grammys? What about those? There's always great singers, whether it's hip hop, R&B or not, that never get a Grammy, but they should have been nominated and they were never nominated.
But I feel like it's
then they get a BET award.
But I feel like it's the cream of the crop. Like, you know, you always have your top 10, but top 10 can't win an award. Like, you have to have the number one out of the top 10. And so not every person who falls in the top 10 category is going to be nominated for the top 1 award. If you have 4 spots and you have 10 great artists, 5 of those 10 great artists are going to be nominated, and 1 of those 5 really great artists is going to take the award. So I feel like that's what it is. It's more competition, I think, Grammy wise, when you're thinking about it, because it's a bigger pool of artists and stuff. But speaking of music and hip hop in that sense, you know, French Montana, you know, he's been, you know, on Instagram and in the media a lot lately, because, you know, he was dating a Kardashian, you know, so.
Or still is dating a Kardashian, possibly. It was his birthday. And let me not say all. A lot of the Kardashians weren't in attendance, you know.
I mean, I guess. But, you know, all's fair in love and hip hop. You know, so like, speaking of love and hip hop, you have the whole Young Berg and Masika situation, you know, where things kind of got a little violent on the side of kind of like obstruction of breathing. That's what he was charged on, you know, when they got into an altercation with his girlfriend at the time. So you can kind of like talk about that a little bit more.
Well, the reunion was taped last week, and after the reunion, I guess, you know, they partied or whatever, and his card was declined at the club or wherever they were at. So Masika paid for it, and I guess after they went home, he was really upset, and, you know, they got into altercation, he got arrested. But basically, quote-unquote, obstruction of breathing.
So he choked her.
Also known as choking, basically.
So that brings up the...
And wait, but she's already, like, kind of defending him, saying, like, he was just drunk, type of thing.
Okay, so that brings up the topic of domestic violence, and something that is very serious, and people are kind of, like, passive about it. And when a woman kind of like speaks up about the situation, they're not really regarded as, you know, sometimes telling the truth. Or if a guy speaks up a situation where he's been, you know, abused, a guy's like, you know, it's kind of like looked down on, like, how are you abused by your woman? You know, in a sense like that. So I think domestic violence is really big, and it's big, especially if we're talking about it on the scale of Love and Hip Hop, a show that so many people watch and, you know, partake in.
Yeah, he's already been kicked out of Love and Hip Hop already. VH1, like, just said, cut him off, like, that's it. Like, he's in jail, so they don't want to be a part of that. He's already, like, he's kicked off. Like,
so he's in jail and convicted, or he's
not convicted. He got arrested, so he probably, I don't know, was indicted and all that.
I think it's good that VH1 definitely took that step in the right direction, where they're saying that, you know, we don't tolerate this type of behavior, because I don't think that behavior is tolerated at all.
They try their best not to put violence on the show anymore. Keyword, try their best. Like, when fights happen, they try to, like, skip the fight part. Like, they'll show you the initial
confrontation,
like, yeah, altercation, and then they just skip the whole scene and then go to, like, the aftermath of what happened. Usually they try to.
Right, but you brought up a good point when you said that she was defending him, saying that he was just drunk. I think, you know, do you think that she's just making excuses for him, in the sense that you think a lot of women do that when they're in that type of relationship?
I think she, like, well, being on the show, not that she deserves it, being on the show, she does seem like the type that, you know, she has a mouthpiece on her. So she probably feels bad, and she feels bad for him that people are attacking him, and she's probably thinking it's not as bad as people think it is.
I think
so. She feels like she's defending her relationship and saying, like, he was just drunk. You guys are, like, making it a bigger deal than what it is.
I think that it should be regarded as a bigger deal. Like, he put his hands on you, he choked you, he could have killed you. So, like, I think that the big deal and the ordeal that's surrounding the situation is a good thing, because it draws attention to it that it's not okay. and that even though you are making excuses for it, it's still not okay, whether he was drunk or whether he was sober. Either way, it's not okay.
I feel like she just thinks like, I don't think she wants her, even though she's on the show, I don't think she wants all her business out on the street. Like, I feel like if she could have kept it a secret, she would have kept it a secret. Like, I don't think she wanted people to know what happened, and she probably really does love Young Bird, and she probably doesn't want people to judge him or her. So, and he can't speak for himself, I guess, at this point, being that he was in jail or whatever's going on with him. So she's just speaking for the both of them, I guess. So she just is like, well, he was just drunk. So.
Well, okay, so I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but do you think that, it was, like, do you think he was always an abuser, or do you think that it was a situation on a situation base and it just happened? Because, you have people like, I don't hate to bring up the Chris Brown situation, but that was a big thing in the media when the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation occurred, Ray Rice and his girlfriend. So we always see a lot of like things about abuse that's happening in the media right now. So do you think that the America is finally being intolerable of this certain thing, or do you think that it's still a situation that we have to address?
I think it's still a situation that needs to be addressed. It will always be addressed because it's violence. Like, it doesn't matter how many people get abused, it still happens and it still needs to be talked about and will forever be talked about.
I mean, I guess I understand that side of it, but I just feel like the fact that America is making it, not even America, but the media in general, saying that it is not tolerated, I feel like that's good, because it shows that, for girls growing up, or like guys coming up, whether they've been abused or whether it's like mental abuse, sexual abuse, like physical abuse, those are all categorized under domestic abuse. Mm-hmm. And so it's so much more than what people think it is. People think it's just like a slap or just like a hit or something like that, or a bruise, but it's much more than a bruise, because if you have if it's mental abuse, then that's something that you scar, like that can't heal, and it takes a long time to heal, and it definitely infringes on the type of person that person is or that person was. It definitely kills a part of you. So I feel like it's definitely a situation that needs to be addressed and that needs to continue to be addressed, because there's so many more components on it. Something that needs to be educated in, maybe like the schools or something of that sort, of that nature.
I think you're right, but like you said, we have to get back to this topic because it is important and still need to be talked about. And for this segment, we talked about the Soul Train Awards and what's going to be happening and how it's a must-see award show. We talked about French and Khloe possibly being together or not being together. I don't know. We talked about Young Berg attacking his girlfriend, Masika. And so you have to stay tuned here on Tea Talk. I'm Erenee Champagne.
And I'm Brea Simons.
And you're listening to Tea Talk on Glasshouse Radio, part of Howard University Radio Network. Stay tuned.